So this is Heverlee. We're going to read out the back before we pour and open her up. So, a Belgian Pilsner style lager created in association with the Abbey of the Order of Premontre-Heverlee, inspired by the beers first brewed by the monks in medieval times. So, I don't know why I did a Frenchish accent saying that because it's Belgian, but I mean, Belgium's right next to France, so I don't know, it works. Anyway, let's get this bottle open and start pouring it out and try it. We've got it open. None of those cap sounds, unfortunately. You'll have to literally comment that you want them, because otherwise I won't do them, because they're not my vibe. So if you want me to do a video where I do that, you'll let me know. So that's the top of the cap. We've got our glass, we've got our beer. Let's get to the good bit. It's got a nice fizz to it. Okay, let's put this over here. Yeah, it's got that classic, I guess it's hoppy, a smell that almost smells like metal. Like, I know you know what I'm talking about when I say that. Like, it's like an iron-rich or metallic smell, and it literally smells like a fence. But it's such a pleasant smell. I don't know how to describe it. I like metallic smells. Yeah, it doesn't smell anywhere near as aromatic as the one that I had just before this, which was the Brooklyn Pilsner. No surprises with that one. It tastes exactly as it smells. It's got like a metallic taste to it. If I make any faces, it's not because I don't like it. I'll let you know if it's because I don't like it. It's because I when I was doing a crisp eating video, I cut the side of my mouth with one of the crisps, and it's inflamed, and now I keep rubbing on it with my teeth, so that's why I do that. Just to give a heads up. What I will say is, for a lager, it is not very lively. Now, that could be down to the fact that it's maybe been shaken around in my bag a little bit when I bought it, but it's really not that lively. It looks a bit more lively on the camera, but if you look, it's only really a small portion that's actually lively in the middle, and then a little bit on the side. Normally I would expect a bit more of a liveliness, a bit more bubbly. I'd expect the head to last a little bit longer, especially in a glass like, I guess like this, where it's a thinner rim at the top. But, I mean, maybe I'm completely wrong about that, but that's just my expectations. So, yeah, it's kind of like a light, goldeny lager. Much more saturated than the one that I had last time, which was a little bit more like a pale lagery gold, whereas this is slightly more. I wouldn't say it's a whole bunch more, but it is slightly more. Again, the taste, it tastes like it smells. It's got that metallic tinge to it that you kind of just expect with all lagers. It's got kind of like a that hoppy alcohol taste, but it's not like super overwhelming. This is a really, really, really easy lager. This is actually really nice. I really like this. But that's because I like lagers that aren't generally, that don't have like an overwhelming taste, or something that's quite overpowering, or that gets a little bit tedious to drink. Namely because within these videos I drink them over such a short space of time. If it's something a little bit more like wham, it's more of a burden to drink because it is going down very quickly, whereas maybe if it was stretched over a period of time it wouldn't be as bad. So I'm giving a single drink for a very long time when I'm at a party or a bar. Yeah, it's very standard. I think one of the big things you can always take away from between an ale and a lager is that I find that ales do often have that smoky back taste, like that scent in the back of your nose that lingers after you've drunk, and maybe even kind of hits you as it's going down, which is it almost tastes smoky, like burnt wood. But I very rarely ever find that with lagers. In fact, I'm trying to think if there's any that I've had that with, and maybe that's like a product of making an ale. I don't know. Now that I do these a lot, I should probably do more research, because I have a lot to say and I drink a lot of them, and it would be nice if I could give you some actual terminology, but I don't know, is that something I should do, or do you want just like the layman's take on things rather than me, like going balls deep into the lore of drink reviewing and stuff? And I know there's a certain word for it, but I can't remember what it is. For being like a beer taster, there's a particular word. But yeah, it is a nice lager. I think the average person would enjoy this. It's not quite as like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of standard beers. This is better than most stuff you'd find on draft. But I find that the classic draft beers tend to be pretty cheap. This feels like it's, I don't know how to describe it beyond it feels like this is pure, whereas something like Foster's is impure, or like Carling is closer towards a less intense palette of a Budweiser, but it's got a slightly different flavour, I guess. This is a really easy drink. I don't feel like sickly at all from drinking it. It's almost like drinking watered down beer, which doesn't sound very appetizing, but it is. I don't know. I don't know if that sounds very good. Maybe I'm just got a really shit taste. I don't know, man. But I enjoy it. You know, I would get some of those bottles if I was going to go to go and, I don't know, watch a movie with some friends, or I don't know, do the classic male thing, put the game on, whatever the game is, I don't know, insert game here, and if I were going to do that, I'd get them. I'd be happy picking that up and drinking that all night. These are nice. Yeah, it's hard to tell if it's just that particular bottle that was less lively. I'm inclined to give it the benefit of the doubt. And honestly, it'd be more interesting to see what it would be like if it was colder. I probably should have refrigerated this beforehand. But I think if it was colder, it would have an even more refreshing, crisp taste to it. You can see in the lighting here it's a little bit cloudy. I'm trying to gauge if that's just the glass. Okay, it's not really that cloudy, but it's got this almost like pale gold coloration to it. Yeah, so it is a nice drink, I have to say. I think I've thought of a good example of describing the metallic taste. It tastes like copper, and what I mean by that is, well, that is it. There's not really much more. But as an example of how you can, in the real world, try that as an example, is it tastes like a copper coin. So in the UK we have coinage that some of them are made of copper, 1p's and 2p's. P stands for pence. Like, a majority of my viewership are not from the UK, so I need to explain this. So an example would be like to take a 1 or a 2 pence piece and taste it. It tastes like that. Like the metallic taste that I'm describing when I say this is like refined copper, and I quite like that taste. I don't know why, but I like that taste when it comes to like a beer. It's just pleasant. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. I don't know why it tastes like that, but that is the equivalent taste that I can describe. If you don't have copper coins, I don't know, maybe try some copper wire. No, you shouldn't do that. Please don't do that, because if you hurt yourself, I don't want to be liable for that. So, you shouldn't do that. Well, that's that car's done. I wish I got some nuts or something for this video. I still got some of those crisps left, but because of my mouth, I don't really want to be eating crisps. Time for another glass. Let's go for it. Pour a little bit out. I won't have it all. I'll do a few more minutes, and then we'll kind of wrap up. So, I think I mentioned in my last video about like recommendations. So if you have any drink recommendations you would like to give me in regards to things to try on the drink review, I'll give them a go. They can be soft drinks, they can be alcoholic, they can be, I don't know, like hot drinks. I'm willing to give them a go if I can, get my hands on them, and try things out. I know it is very, very old news, but I do want to do Prime at some point. Where I live now, there are a whole bunch of flavours in one shop, and they're pretty cheap. And I'm thinking that I might do one with my partner, like going through each of the Primes and trying them and doing a little drink review with her about them and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I think that would be nice. So I'm thinking of doing that. But if you have any other recommendations, you should let me know. Because I'm looking to making more of these. They're a fun kind of video. Some of them do really well, some of them don't. I don't know why. I guess it's just algorithm, how people are feeling at a given day, whether or not they want to watch a drink review one night. And so, just by chance, that video doesn't do very well. It's just very funny seeing them go from like being either some of my highest viewed or being like ones that no one wants to watch. It's just kind of amusing. So I don't really know what to make of that. But I guess that goes with all of the other content. It's just that the drink reviews are my most consistent like series of videos, And I do still want to do the tier list. I'm determined to set that up. I need to download the thumbnails of each of the drink reviews, and I'll probably do maybe I'll do quarterly, so I'll add them in, and then every quarter of a year, every few months, I'll do a video that's let's add them to the tier list, or the ones from then till now. So I might try to set that up and do it in the new year, because it's still December. I know you are probably watching this far in the future, and I am very sorry, but I can't just dogpile all of the drink reviews at once. So I spread them out a little bit, and I tend to buy drinks in bulk and then do them one after the other. It's just the way that it works. But I've mentioned in other videos that if someone does a recommendation, or I find something I want to upload more recently, I'll just swap them out. So like, if I did, whenever this is coming out, I don't know, like if you wanted me to do a particular drink, I can basically do it and then upload it and replace one that is going to be coming out like the next week with this, so that, you know, it's dotting around. I just schedule in advance. When it comes to work and things that I consider projects and passions, I'm very, very organised, and I prefer to have things in advance. I've gone into that in another video. I'm not going to waste time here like debating the finer details of me and my obsession with scheduling videos, but yeah, I do that. Yeah, that's that. Drink time. Speaking of the new year, I hope it's doing good things for you. Hope it's going well so far. Yeah. By the time this comes out, it could be, you know, like a quarter of the way through the year, which is mad to think about. I don't even know what situation my life will be in by that point. That's kind of the beauty of making these videos in advance, and then like them coming out, where I could be like watching them back myself and going, damn, you had no idea that this thing was gonna come. Hopefully good things. I don't want to be looking back and going, you had no idea that this horrible thing was coming in your life. My last drink review was a lot longer than intended, so I'm going to make sure this one is not quite as long, for no other reason than I don't have a lot of room on my SSD. I do have an external one, but it's very difficult to move stuff around because I'm in the process of like editing several videos at once and uploading at the same time, which means that I have a lot of stuff already on like my main computer, but I can't export my Streamlab video that I'm recording to my SSD because I have to have all my USBs plugged in in order for me to stream or like record videos. So I make them shorter so that I don't lose the footage before it goes, oh, you're not going to get cut off right now because you didn't have room. I do have a buffer, but usually when it hits like below 20 gigabytes, I start to worry and move stuff around, and that is because I have Baldur's Gate 3 on my computer, which is, I think, around 150 gigabytes. I'm right at the end of Act 3, and I have been since, I don't know, since September. Yeah, I was playing this game obsessively, and then I think I talked about it in another video, a really, really old video, but I hit a certain point in Baldur's Gate 3 where I encountered a really, really big bug. I'm going to pour another bit of this drink because I'm going into a story here. So I encountered a bug in the game, which by this point is null and void, but I don't just mean like when this video comes out, I mean now. There was this bug where basically if you went back to camp, this is really like specific knowledge in case, like, for those of you that are into Baldur's Gate 3, to anyone else who have no idea what I'm talking about, but Gale in Baldur's Gate 3, you would go back to camp in Act 3 and he would be angry at you because you had made a deal and made a decision earlier on, and he was basically angry at me. Not only did I not make that deal, I hadn't even followed up on the quest line there's a storyline involving that NPC, and it evolves over the course of the game through the different acts of the story. And other than the first appearance, I didn't invest in it. I didn't go to see him. I didn't talk to them. I bumped into them at one point in the second act, but that was it. I hadn't done anything else. And the second act bump in is unavoidable, but basically I completely ignored him. And then in Act 3 there's a quest that pops up that's like, go and speak to this person, and I didn't even acknowledge it. I was like, I'm not even going to do this mission because it's not in my character. And if you want a spoiler version of this story, then let me know and I will do a video about my whole Baldur's Gate 3 experience. Maybe by the point of that video coming out, I will have actually finished the fucking game. Anyway, so I didn't even engage in this storyline. But despite that, I got the camp, and Gale was having a go at me for doing this, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I should preface this. Act 3 was a real fucking mess. It was in a real state when it launched. Super buggy. Since then, Larian, who is the studio that made the game, have patched it a lot, and they've done a lot of work on the game, and I do, rate them for that. The thing is, the game is massive, it's complex, it's one of the most complex games. There's a reason why it won Game of the Year basically across the board, because it is one of the best games of all time. And I genuinely mean that it is one of the best games of all time, but it was buggy. And so right before this thing in the camp had happened, it's hard to describe, but there's a certain character I don't want to be spoilery, but there's a certain character that can appear in the game, and I wanted that character because I'm going down a particular storyline, and I know that I want that character with me. And because of that, I wanted to go and recruit this character. However, for literally no reason, the quest did not trigger. So you're meant to go to this building and you're meant to be ambushed. There was nothing there. I searched around and realised that it hadn't triggered, which meant the quest was effectively broken. However, there was no patch for that at the time, and I went online and I went to look and see, am I doing something wrong? Because the quest line is telling me to go to this building, but when I talk to an NPC, he's meant to give me, and I only figured this out afterwards, he's meant to give me a line of dialogue. I meant to go and do something and then get ambushed. But I walked in and he says, oh, hello, to a particular character in my party, and that's it, and then the dialogue ends. That's not meant to happen. And I went online and searched it, and so many people were having this problem. So effectively this entire recruitment mission was broken, and I had to meticulously go around and fix the quest by doing certain objectives. I had one screen open with the game, the other with the walkthrough, because it's meant to give you quest objectives, it's meant to give you waypoints, but it doesn't. So I literally had to follow a guide and then fix the quest, and it took me about 2 hours to do it. And finally I recruited this character, and I was like, yes, finally I've got this character in. I've only got one act to play with him, so I'm going to go back to camp, I'm going to recruit him into my party, and we're going to go an adventure. So I went back to camp, went to go over to him, but I saw a little exclamation mark above Gale, walked over to him, and that's when he was like, you made this decision, I'm angry at you, and it was a bad decision. And I paused and went, I haven't done anything. I didn't not even follow that quest line. And that was the moment that I closed the game and haven't played it since. So it wasn't because I was like, this game is shit, I'm never playing it again. It was because I just spent 2 hours fixing a quest to fall into another bug immediately after. And the bug was that Gale was under the impression I'd done a quest and chosen a decision, and I hadn't. I then later found out that the next patch had actually fixed that. And I think they had like a joking thing in the patch notes that was like, Gale will no longer have a go at you. Gale will no longer be mad at you for no reason. Yeah, there was a patch for it, like back months and months and months ago. I don't even remember how long. But I realised that was the moment where I went, I'm not prepared to play this game until they're really done patching it, because the first act is pretty solid. I mean, the whole game is solid, but the first act is pretty fine from any glitches or bugs. The second act, there's a couple, but nothing that I really noticed. Nothing that game broke the game. But Act 3 was a mess. It was so painful to play through. In the sense that it was super buggy, it was super slow. Then I had this massive bug where an entire quest wouldn't load. And then, the moment I fixed it, another bug came up. I then found out that the character that I was romancing had a really shit epilogue, and because the thing is, you're gonna run into somewhat spoilers, and they decided to add extra stuff at the end of the game. Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff there, and I am playing. So this is a complete segue now. I'm gonna take a drink before to break up the story. So here's a fun fact. My name to fame here is that all aside, I will play the game again. I just want to wait until it's patched, and I want to play it sooner than later so I can get the game off of my hard drive. I guess, I don't know, I want to play through it again, but we'll see. I'd love to record it and do it as an ASMR thing, but I do not have the computing power for that. It would be awful. Anyway, putting that to the side, the other thing I wanted to say was when I started playing my first playthrough, I decided to go as a Dark Urge, Origin, Paladin, Dragonborn, and I think I've said this in another video, which is that the Dark Urge, I am absolutely convinced is the intended playthrough. Like, you can play as one of the other characters, you can play as like a custom character without an origin, but I'm absolutely convinced to my core that Larian wants the Dark Urge to be the main character, the main story, the canon story, and I'm convinced. And I'm not going to say why. You'll have to play the game to figure that out yourself, but there are reasons, and you'll eventually find that out. Time to finish your drink. So there we have it. That is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed this drink review. Once again, we were drinking today the Heverlee Pilsner Lager, Premium Pilsner Lager, and premium it is indeed. I don't know what it is that can define it as premium. I think that's just a buzzword they had on there, with some pretty cool artwork. 4.8% for those that are interested. 660ml bottle. And yeah, Pilsner Lager. This is up there. I wish I might have to compare this to the other Pilsner I had from, what was it called? Something Brewery. I can't remember. But the one that was the same brand as the Dragonfly, and then I had an ale the week after, but the first one I did was a Pilsner, and that was stunning. That was my favourite I'd had, and this is either ahead of that or this is second. If I were going to be ranking this, I'd probably put this at the top. This would definitely be S tier. This is really, really nice. I would gladly buy this again. I would drink it regularly. It is a good brand, so if you ever see Heverlee beer premium Pilsner Lager, you should pick it up under my recommendation. Maybe you won't like it, but I certainly do. So that's that, okay? Alright, well, thank you very much for listening in and watching, and I will see you in whatever video comes next.